Welcome to NarrativeNook Audiotales, where enchanted stories come to life. If you enjoy our stories, please subscribe, like and share to support our channel. Enjoy listening.
Arabella heard the voice, glanced back at her with a cold look, just for a moment, then obediently followed Brody. The others didn't know about their relationship and turned to the Murphy family when they saw that they knew this girl. The Murphy family felt superior, but they also wondered how Arabella got in. How would she know someone like Philip? Grandpa. As soon as Arabella entered the ward, she politely greeted him. "Bella, you're finally here. I've been anxiously waiting for you." Philip, while asking her to sit down, was puzzled. "Why did you come alone? Where's Romeo? He had to go back to the company for something. This guy." Philip was angry in his heart. Needless to say, this guy must be getting bored with Bella. He left her behind in just a few days. Where could he find such a beautiful and skilled girl like Bella? He thought their marriage was almost settled. But it seemed it was still uncertain. "Brody, call Romeo," Philip angrily said. This guy only has work in his eyes. Such a beautiful girl in front of him, and he still had the mind to deal with other things. In fact, Romeo really didn't feel like working, but if he didn't finish, he wouldn't be able to have dinner with her tonight. In order to spend more time with her, he had to give up picking up his grandpa from the hospital. But Grandpa didn't know. He thought Romeo didn't like Bella, was bored with Bella, and deliberately cold to Bella. It's okay, let him be busy. With no clingy guy around, Arabella felt very relaxed. But to Philip, she was defending Romeo. She was too virtuous. Romeo has been through a lot since he was a kid, so he's cold and quiet. I find time to tell you about his past. Arabella wasn't interested in Romeo's past, but she nodded obediently on the surface. Outside the ward, Yolanda found that since Arabella had gone in, Zachary's eyes had been fixed on that ward. She admitted that Arabella looked really pretty today. Although she was simply dressed and her hair was casually tied up, her outstanding features and the cold aura that radiated from within her were indeed eye-catching. Seeing everyone paying attention to Arabella, she couldn't help but bite her lip and whispered, "My sister's private life is really complicated." "What did you say?" Olga thought she knew some inside story and hurriedly asked. Not just Olga, Atlee, and the Panther family were also attracted by her words, all looking at her. Yolanda seemed to have found her sense of existence and softly said, "Zachary and I saw my sister helping an older man into a hotel earlier. The man looked quite old and had some difficulty moving. After accompanying that older man at the hotel, my sister got into a luxury car to accompany another man. Now Sis is allowed in that ward. Does she have some kind of ambiguous relationship with Philip, or is she hanging on to some rich dude, visiting Philip as his mistress? Either way, it's a shame. Sis was great, but she did a lot of wrong things just to stay in Summerfield." Upon saying this, Yolanda let out a fake sigh, and her face was full of feigned sorrow. Olga listened in disbelief. Is her personal life really that complicated? If she's visiting as a mistress, wouldn't that hinder Philip's recovery? Arabella's real family seems to be quite wealthy. I doubt she'd do such a thing. Hearing Zachary's comment, Yolanda seemed surprised. "Zachary, are you defending Sis? If her real family is indeed wealthy, why would her family let her serve old men in hotels? You saw it too, she was intimate with that old man, like lovers." Zachary was instantly reminded of Arabella holding the old man's hand, and he felt imitated. Yolanda took the chance to exaggerate. If Sis' real family is truly wealthy, easily whipping out billions in cash, her parents would have to be at least provincial tycoons or even national tycoon. But apparently, this is unlikely. That British luxury car that day could have been some old man's, and that servant might have been lying. If her real family is indeed wealthy, why would she be at the hospital waiting for the old lady to wake up? She's been there several times. Olga thought to herself, she must be waiting for the old lady to wake up, so she can stay with the Murphy family. In that case, Arabella's parents really weren't rich. Just then, a few bodyguards received word and started to drive people away. "Philip isn't seeing anyone today. Everyone please leave, don't stand around here, you're blocking the air." But that girl just went in. Yolanda gently smiled and spoke, "Sir, what's the relationship between that girl and Philip inside? Can you tell me?" The bodyguards instantly felt disgusted seeing her pretend to be innocent. They've worked for the Macmillan family for years and had seen many people like her. Seeing the bodyguards not responding, Yolanda felt awkward. Because plenty of people were watching, she had no choice but to tough it out. "Sir, truth be told, that girl is my sister." "Well, since she's your sister, ask her yourself," the bodyguard responded. Olga pulled Yolanda back, not wanting her to embarrass herself any further. However, Mrs. Panther was quite disgusted by this girl's shameful behavior. Many people left, yet many still lingered, waiting for Philip to come out. After a while, the door to the ward opened. Arabella came out supporting Philip, leaving everyone stunned. Philip looked lively and was happily chatting with the girl. She obediently nodded along. The scene was warm and harmonious. It felt like a family. Executives from a few small companies were dumbstruck, then hurriedly rushed to Philip. But they were all blocked by the bodyguards. "Philip, are you being discharged? Can you spare me 5 minutes? I only need a minute." Philip. Philip ignored the clamor behind him, chatting and laughing with the girl beside him as they headed toward the elevator. Brody followed behind them carrying the luggage, looking every bit the dutiful servant. The relationship between Sis and Philip seems more complicated. Yolanda was green with jealousy. She sneered, "They've been inside for so long, who knows what they're up to? They're up to no good, are they?" Olga got the drift. Philip's bodyguard was up ahead. If he overheard, it would only cause more trouble for the Murphy family. Yolanda bit her lower lip, watching their retreating figures with a sullen look. How great it would be if she were with Philip. About 15 minutes later, the car pulled up in front of a serene and elegant villa. This was Philip's residence, sprawling over tens of thousands of square meters. The villa boasted a European-style design with classic elements like Roman columns and French doors, complemented by a sophisticated white exterior paint, exuding an air of opulence. "Bella, we're home," Philip called out cheerfully. "Let's sit in the yard. Phil, have coffee prepared. Any afternoon tea you fancy? I'll have it made on the spot." "No need, Grandpa," Arabella smiled softly and politely declined. "I still have work to do, so I won't be going in." Philip's excitement deflated. "You're leaving? Miss Bennet, you're already at the doorstep. Why not take the day off?" Brody also took a shine to her and tried to persuade her to stay. "Come in, rest a bit, have some coffee and food?" "I have things to deal with at the office," Arabella replied gently. "Maybe next time." "When do you finish work? I'll have Romeo pick you up." Philip was reluctant but didn't want to interfere with her work. "Come dine with me tonight, we can have a chat." "Philip's not fully recovered, he needs Miss Bennet to check," Brody started to say, then quickly gave Philip a meaningful look. "Oh, my heart." Philip immediately started acting. "Bella, can you check on me again tonight? I feel a bit uncomfortable here." Arabella saw through his exaggerated and poor acting but chose not to expose him. She just smiled. "All right. Fantastic. What do you like to eat?" "I'll have the kitchen prepare it," Philip said. Then realizing he was getting overly excited, he faked a cough, his voice weak. "Is there anything you can't eat?" "I can eat anything." Arabella's eyes were bright, and she said, "Don't prepare too much." "Okay." Philip was as happy as a kid. "I'll send you to the office first after work. Come over with Romeo." "Okay." Once Arabella left, Philip immediately perked up, grinning. "So, how did I do just now?" Brody made a gesture with his thumb and index finger, a bit over the top. "Really?" Philip looked at the direction the car was leaving. "I'll pay more attention to my acting next time." Once inside, he dialed Romeo on his phone, sounding determined. "I don't care how urgent your matter is, you must pick up Bella after work tonight and come over for dinner." "Okay." Unexpectedly, the man on the other end agreed promptly, without even a half-second of hesitation. Philip was puzzled. Why did he agree so quickly? Did he mishear? "I'm warning you, don't do anything inappropriate with Bella. She finishes work at 5. Romeo's deep voice came from the other end. "We'll be there before 6. In other words, he needed to have dinner ready before 6. Philip was puzzled again. Philip was left scratching his head. Did he hear that right? Was that mischievous tyke really saying this? As for dessert, Romeo, who seemed to know Arabella's tastes like the back of his hand, elaborated. "She doesn't have a sweet tooth for chocolate. Maybe you can whip up something with strawberries instead." After hanging up the phone, Philip was still feeling perplexed. His grandson was suddenly a mystery wrapped in an enigma. Brody, misunderstanding Philip's dilemma, decided to step in and lend a helping hand. "Philip, I've noticed the young master and Ms. Bennet's relationship is moving at a snail's pace. Should we give them a nudge tonight? Got any bright ideas?" Philip was all ears. Brody laid out his scheme. Seeing Philip flash a satisfied grin, he couldn't help but laugh. "All right, I have the room prepared in advance." Meanwhile, Arabella took the elevator up to the 20th floor of the company building, spotting her assistant, Dean, waiting for her by the office door from a distance. "Miss Bennet." Upon seeing her, Dean came forward at once. "You're finally here. Mr. Oscar has been asking for you." Arabella raised an eyebrow, clearly unfamiliar with the name. "He's the big shot sent by the headquarters. Before you joined the company, he was the top dog. Why haven't I seen him at previous meetings then?" Dean hesitated, finally murmuring. "He's hardly ever at the office. Busy with outside meetings?" "Not exactly." Arabella got the picture. "Tell him to come over." "Yes." Dean was about to fetch him. Arabella looked intrigued. "A vice president needs a personal invitation? If I just give him a call or send a message, he'll blow his top." "Really? Then I'd love to see how he throws a tantrum." Not long after, a middle-aged man in his 40s appeared. He was slightly chubby with a round face, and as soon as he arrived at the office door, he didn't hesitate to grumble at Dean. "So the new boss comes in and the old one's out of the picture?" "Mr. Oscar, it was just a temporary situation. I'm really sorry I couldn't invite you personally," Dean replied. "This new manager just dropped from the sky, who knows how long she'll last. And you, learning to throw your weight around so quickly." "Of course not," Dean said respectfully. "Mr. Oscar, please come in. Ms. Bennet is already inside." Oscar gave him a cold glance and swaggered into the office. The young woman in the office chair watched him with interest. She was fairly attractive, but she seemed to be looking down on him. "I've heard rumors about a new manager coming in, but I'm surprised to see that you're so young." Oscar beat her to the punch. "As far as I know, you were sent from the headquarters, but I don't recall ever seeing you when I worked there. Mr. Oscar, there are over 5,000 employees in the headquarters. Have you met all of them?" "Not exactly. I just thought someone as young and attractive as you, sitting in this position, is something I've never seen before. Who in the headquarters sent you here?" "Do I need to report this to you?" Arabella said with a slight smile. "I heard that you are often not at the company. I wonder if I, as the new head, can ask about it." Oscar pulled out a chair and sat down smugly across from Arabella. "If I had to personally deal with every single thing in the company, I'd probably be drained dry, Ms. Bennet. You just took the position, so you might not know just how busy it get. So where do you usually go when you're not at the company?" Arabella asked. "Doing deals with other bosses, meeting suppliers." "Ms. Bennet, are you going to take charge of this too?" Oscar said. "Of course." Arabella smiled. "I need to know the ins and outs of every deal. Otherwise, it might be seen as playing hooky." "Heh," Oscar chuckled. "So you mean to tell me, Ms. Bennet, that I need to be glued to the office every day? Not just you, all the employees should be at their posts during working hours." Arabella said with a laugh. Oscar stared at the girl in front of him, then burst into laughter. "Ms. Bennet, as the top boss of the company now, I'll of course listen to what you have to say. If there's nothing else, I'll get back to my office," Arabella said. "Don't worry, from now on I'll be in the company every day, managing it well with you," Oscar said. His tone was especially heavy on the last sentence, as if hinting at something. Unexpectedly, Arabella took it in stride and laughed. "You better take care of yourself first." As he stood up to leave, Arabella looked at his retreating figure. "Oh, I forgot to tell you." Oscar immediately stopped in his tracks. Arabella said clearly, "Only I can command my employees." Oscar glanced at Dean standing at the doorway, feeling dissatisfied. "Did you get that, Mr. Oscar?" Arabella asked. "Got it." Oscar stormed off in a huff. Dean watched the girl in the office, surprised at her determination. What should he do? He felt somewhat moved by being protected by a girl. At Fairfield Manor, Philip looked at the flowers and plants in the garden, took the shears from the gardener's hand. "I'll do the trimming." "Oh, Philip, be careful. You're not fully recovered," the butler anxiously said. "What shape do you want?" "Just tell me." "I want something cute," Philip said. "Cute?" The butler thought he heard wrong, and exchanged looks with the other gardeners. Philip started trimming his beloved plants. After a while he felt it wasn't perfect, so he snipped a bit more. "How about this?" "Philip, did you just trim your beloved plant into the shape of a rabbit?" The butler realized. "Is it for the miss to see tonight?" Philip was pleased with the result, admiring his handiwork. To make Arabella like this place more, he instructed several gardeners to trim all the plants in the courtyard into cute shapes, and had the entire villa cleaned and decorated. As if tonight's visitor was not his granddaughter-in-law, but a distinguished guest. "Sir, Miss Serena has arrived suddenly," a maid came to report. "Do you want me to bring her in?" "Why would she be here?" Brody wondered. He looked at Philip. Philip was just about to rest, sitting on a wicker chair. "Let her in, and serve some tea and snack." Serena was following the maid all around, finally reaching Philip after a lot of hustle. Tears welled up in her eyes and her voice choked up. "Grandpa." She burst into tears as soon as she saw Philip. "I'm so glad to see you sitting here healthy, but I can't help but feel guilty." "What's with the tears?" Philip asked. "I messed up last time. I wanted to help you recover faster, but I didn't realize the pill I gave you was faulty." Serena felt deeply ashamed. "You suffered for nothing. Luckily, you're a good sport and everything turned out okay." Philip chuckled kindly. "Let's not dwell on what's past. Actually, it wasn't a problem with the pill, but his frail body wasn't suitable for it." But he didn't want to explain all this to Serena. At this moment, a chef handed a menu to Philip for his review. "Not bad, not bad." Philip perused from top to bottom. "Did you add chocolate powder to this dessert? Arabella doesn't fancy this. Switch it to strawberry flavor." Upon hearing this, Serena thought, "Arabella? She's coming here for dinner? Impossible. Why does Philip seem to know her taste so well? Prepare more fruits too. Cut them into cute shapes." Philip handed back the menu cheerfully. "That's all. Go prepare everything now." Serena maintained a courteous smile. "Grandpa, do we have any special guests tonight? I noticed a lot of servants are cleaning up and setting up the place. Are we?" "It's for your sister. I invited her for dinner tonight." Philip laughed heartily. Never thought the unexpected would happen. She turned out to be Romeo's fiancée. "Serena, seems like we aren't fated in this lifetime. You can't be my granddaughter-in-law. I don't have my sister's good fortune." Serena felt a twinge of resentment. Arabella, always Arabella. Ever since Arabella appeared, nothing had gone her way. "You're a good kid, you'll definitely find a good family and marry a good man in the future." "It's getting late, I need to check on the other preparations," Philip said. Philip glanced at the time. Arabella would be arriving in an hour. He placed great importance on this dinner gathering. It's Arabella's first time here. Can't leave a bad impression. His words suggested a high expectation for his future granddaughter-in-law. As he was about to leave, Serena hurriedly spoke up. "Grandpa, is there something else?" Philip turned around, smiling kindly at her. Although he seemed gentle, it felt different from before. "I won first place in a piano competition. I wanted to play a piece for you." Serena wanted Philip to know that she was more talented than Arabella. But Philip didn't seem to care much, and he smiled kindly. "Can I take a rain check? Can I play a piece for you if you're not in a hurry? You've always had a refined musical taste, and you've listened to many excellent music pieces over the years. You can help point out my shortcomings," Serena said. Serena was in shock. Was he implying that he didn't plan on inviting her for dinner? Was he worried that Arabella would be displeased if she found out? He was really considering that country girl. Before Serena could say anything, she heard him say, "Brody, stay with Serena for a while. I need to check on something over there." "All right." Mr. Brody was aware that the old geezer was ready to make tracks, so he respectfully accepted. His attitude, though, was as if he was ready to give someone the boot. Serena didn't expect Philip to do a 180 on her after he met Arabella. She was beyond embarrassed. Even though the old man asked Mr. Brody to show her around, she was too mortified to stick around, her face burning up. Arabella, that country bumpkin, must be a regular troublemaker. How could she possibly have won Grandpa over? What was her secret? How did she manage to get his approval in such a short time? Since Grandpa is tied up with stuff, I'll drop by another day. Serena stood up, leaving the gifts behind. Please, Mr. Brody, pass these things to Grandpa. The doc said he doesn't need any tonics, and these things won't be of any use to him. Mr. Brody replied respectfully. Miss Serena, please take them back and give them to your own parent. Take Serena's stuff to the car. Brody knew why she was here today. Wasn't it because she still had the hots for the young master, hoping to be the daughter-in-law of the Macmillan family? Unfortunately, the young master's got eyes only for Miss Bella now, and the old man was quite taken with Miss Bella too. She wanted to muscle in? That was wishful thinking. On the other side, Arabella finished her work and called Louisa on her phone. Mom, don't bother making dinner for me tonight. Before she even explained why, Louisa happily said, I know. Philip called me earlier. He's getting discharged today and he wants you to have dinner with him. Arabella was surprised that Grandpa had personally called her mom to relay such a small matter, and she felt warm inside. I also heard from Grandpa that you once saved him. Although he didn't go into details, he couldn't stop singing your praises in that 10-minute phone call. He's very pleased with you, his granddaughter-in-law, Louisa said. Arabella was taken aback that Grandpa had brought up that incident. Good thing Grandpa didn't mention the details of the rescue. Dear Bella, how come Mom didn't know you were a lifesaver? You're amazing, Louisa said. While Louisa was very happy, she also felt that the Murphy family didn't appreciate Arabella enough. They had such a wonderful, obedient, and sensible child, but they didn't appreciate her and even put her personal information on a missing persons website. Unbelievable. Have a good time with Grandpa tonight. Louisa said a few more words before reluctantly hanging up. Just as Serena got home, she heard the news and asked in shock, Did my sister save Philip before? Yeah. I only found out from Philip himself. I can't believe Bella is so modest. Louisa was beyond pleased with her daughter. Bella was satisfactory in every way and becoming more and more likable. Serena thought to herself, it must have been when Grandpa was sick and Arabella happened to be passing by and saved him with CPR. That was how she won Philip's heart. She knew CPR too. It was not rocket science. It was in the textbooks on how to do it. What a pity, she didn't get the chance to show her excellent self in front of Grandpa Philip. If she had such an opportunity, Grandpa Philip's affection wouldn't have shifted to that country girl. As dusk fell, Philip was standing at the door, craning his neck. Finally, he saw two familiar figures. Romeo was holding Arabella's hand as they got out of the car. That affectionate scene made the corners of Philip's mouth curl up. Bella, you're finally here. Are you tired from work? Did you have a hard day? Come inside. As soon as Philip stepped in, he addressed the dozens of servants waiting there. This is my daughter, you guys better show her some respect from now on. Good evening, miss. The servants stood in unison, all smiles, eyes locked on Arabella. It was obvious they had been waiting for a while. Some of them were even sweating through their clothes. Arabella felt a bit helpless. She thought there was no need for them to be so formal. Hey there. Arabella nodded and went inside with Romeo. The flowers and plants in the yard were adorable. Arabella was a bit puzzled. Wasn't this her grandpa's place? Why were there so many cute plants? Romeo noticed the changes too. Everywhere he looked, things were fresh and clean. Clearly, they had gone all out to make a good impression on Arabella. Arabella, you hungry? Dinner's ready. Philip led her to the dining room. 4 chefs and 8 servants greeted her with respectful bows. Arabella was speechless. Seriously, no need to be so formal. Arabella, come sit next to me. Philip patted the spot next to him. One of the servants pulled out a chair for Arabella. After she sat down, Romeo took the seat next to her. 4 chefs served the dishes. Each plate not only smelled and tasted amazing, but also looked stunning. Arabella, give it a taste. Philip was about to put a whole steak on Arabella's plate. But Romeo beat him to it. He picked the meat out of a Boston lobster and naturally put it into Arabella's plate. Philip thought, my grandson is actually being considerate. Did I see that right? Brody, sitting nearby, was wide-eyed, clearly unable to believe what he was seeing. Their young master was actually taking care of this girl at the dinner table? Next, Romeo removed the crab shell and put the meat into Arabella's plate. After spending these days eating together, he had gotten used to serving her, caring for her feelings. But in Philip and Brody's eyes, what Romeo was doing seemed unbelievable. You like seafood? Have more. Romeo thought of her, but didn't eat a bite himself. Philip, shocked, quickly asked with a big smile, Arabella, how's the taste? Delicious. Arabella said. Thank you for your compliments, miss. The four chefs bowed in unison, extremely grateful for Arabella's comment. The old man had said, if the young lady was satisfied with tonight's dinner, they'd get double pay this month. You should eat too. Arabella didn't want Romeo to keep fussing over her. But Romeo kept serving her, noting what she liked and disliked. He was silently serving her more of her favorites. Bella, when you're free, come visit more often. It's been a long time since this place was so lively. Philip said. Before, Romeo was always busy with work, sometimes even not visiting for a month or two. Although Fairfield Manor had many servants, Philip always felt lonely. But today was different. Having family around made the meal extra delicious. Sure. Arabella obediently agreed. We'll come back often to keep you company, Romeo said. Hearing Romeo say this, Philip felt a bit annoyed. He thought of how Romeo used to always be busy with work and not visit him, but now he was always following his wife around. After dinner, Philip took Bella on a tour around, finally reaching the top floor for a distant view. Now it's getting dark and you can't see the view very clearly. But during the day, you can see beautiful flowers, streams, and distant mountains. Bella, you should definitely come and check it out when you have the time, Philip said. Sure. Bella glanced at the time, her voice gentle. It's getting late, I should head back. Don't leave. Philip was a bit reluctant. Can you stay a bit longer? I'll come to see you next time, Arabella said. Seeing Bella about to leave, Philip quickly signaled to his butler, Brody, who immediately understood his intentions and discreetly ordered the servants to prepare. Just as Bella reached the first-floor living room, led by Romeo, all the lights in the villa suddenly went out. What's going on? Philip feigned ignorance. Why is there a power outage all of a sudden? Weird, we've lived here for years and have never encountered this situation before. Let me go check what's wrong. Hang tight, I'll be right back, Brody said. Brody played dumb and quickly went downstairs. Romeo, take Bella to the sofa for a while. Philip then ordered a servant nearby, go find some candles and emergency lights. Sir, didn't you collect some really nice emergency lights before? A servant asked pretentiously. That's right, you guys go look for them. Philip also found an excuse to leave. The living room was left with just Romeo and Bella. Romeo smiled. The villa clearly had a backup generator. So even if the power went out, there wouldn't be complete darkness. Was the old man deliberately making a chance for them to be alone? Bella waited for a long time and checked the time. It's already 8:30. Let's go. If she stayed too late, her parents would worry. Romeo pulled her into his arms. It's still early. Stay with me a little longer. I've been with you for a long time already today, Arabella said. Just a few hours, not enough. Romeo held her even tighter. I want to stay a little longer. Bella was speechless. Why was he so clingy? He used to be so cold. Let go of me. What if Grandpa sees? Arabella said. He'll be even happier if he sees us, Romeo said. Upstairs. Brody saw Philip coming up and quickly whispered, Sir, over here. Philip hurried over, squeezed next to him to look downstairs. How's it going, any progress? They're just chatting, no substantial progress, Brody said. Romeo, you blockhead. It's so dark in the room, why isn't he kissing her? Philip thought for a moment. Is the atmosphere not romantic enough? Have someone take those pedal lights and LED candles down there. All right. Brody said. Soon, the living room was decorated with beautiful petal lights and LED candles on the tables, suddenly creating a romantic ambience. Hold on. Arabella stopped a servant who was setting up candles. Tell my grandfather, I'm ready to leave. Faced with this sudden situation, the servant was a bit flustered. Miss, the entire house is out of power. Could you wait a bit longer before leaving? It's already too late. I need to go, Arabella said. But the front door is locked. You can't get out, the servant said. Arabella was puzzled at this. Each door is a special electronic smart door. If there's a power outage, the doors can't be opened, the servant said. Don't these doors have USB ports? You can just use a power bank to charge it. Arabella offered a solution. But then the guy replied, the USB port is gone. What about the spare key? Arabella asked. Lost that too, the servant answered. Well, take out the dead battery from the door lock and replace it with a new one, Arabella suggested. No spare batteries either, the servant said. Arabella was speechless. How come these servants didn't have anything prepared for the door? Seeing his shifty eyes, Arabella quickly caught on and smirked. Just go tell my grandpa that I'm ready to leave. Arabella got up, ready to go. Miss, please wait, let me inform Mr. Philip. Please stay here, the servant said. Seeing Arabella determined to leave, he hurried off to find Philip. Philip waved his hand dismissively after hearing her story. No worries, I've already had the USB port removed and the spare key and battery hidden. She can't leave unless the power comes back on. As Arabella approached the front door, she noticed signs of the USB port being tampered with and the hidden spare key and battery were missing, obviously taken away. She smirked, turning to the man before her. Your grandpa sure went to great lengths for you. It's for you. Romeo held her, word by word. He likes you a lot and wants you to stay. Arabella thought, stay? So this guy can take advantage of me? No way. She placed her fingers on the keypad, punching in a few numbers. Soon enough, the door swung open. The servants around were stunned. How did the young miss do it? The door was clearly locked. Didn't Mr. Philip say it was impossible to open without power? Romeo didn't expect her to bypass the system, rendering the password useless. This girl knew a lot of tricks. I just keyed in randomly, let's go. Arabella was the first to walk out the door, but hadn't gotten far when she heard a voice. Miss, please wait. Mr. Philip suddenly had a heart attack. Please come and check. The servant shouted out. Arabella was speechless. Though suspicious, she hurried over to help. A servant led the way with a brown emergency light, taking her to Philip's room. Oh, my heart. Philip laid in bed, pretending to be ill. Grandpa, where do you feel uncomfortable? The moment Arabella's hand touched his wrist, she knew what was up. Miss, how is Mr. Philip? Is he okay? Brody asked. Arabella smirked, retracting her hand, and lazily replied, he's perfectly fine. If I must say something, he probably ate too much and is feeling a bit bloated. Philip and the butler didn't expect Arabella to catch on so quickly that he was faking. They were both taken back. Grandpa, you should rest. Arabella didn't call him out but gently said, I really should go home if I'm out any later, my parents will worry. Miss, please stay. If the master has an emergency in the middle of the night, we won't be able to find a doctor in time. Brody tried hard to convince her. Yes, you can stay in the room on the 3rd floor. Romeo's room is on the other side of the corridor, you two will be separate. Philip added. Most importantly, it's been a long time since the house was this lively. You and the young master are always busy with work. We don't know when you'll be able to visit again. Brody said. You're the daughter-in-law of the Macmillan family. It's only reasonable for you to stay at the Macmillans. If you feel it's not proper, I can arrange for you two to register your marriage at the town hall right away. Philip said. Arabella was speechless. This was really unnecessary.
Thank you for listening. If you have enjoyed this story, please like and share so others can see it too. Also hit the subscription button and notification bell so you can be notified on our next release. Thank you for your support. God bless you.